Welcome back to the Grande Pacific. Today we're going to do a video on Wi-Fi and running your trains through various devices other than the throttles that come with your command stations. So let us move right into this, and we'll get the first part on connecting your router up to your computer working. In this process, we're going to take this Linksys Cisco N300 router, and we're going to connect it up so that our computer reads it, and JMRI talks to it, and the command station is talking to JMRI, which will allow commands to go from this case we're showing an Android tablet. You'll see other devices in the video as we go along, back to the computer, which is connected in a USB port through the keyspan 19, which is laying in the back there. It's connected to an RS-232 cable, which is a serial connection. The keyspan 19 converts the serial to USB, and the USB plugs into the computer. The serial cable comes up and plugs into the front of your NCE command station. This part of connecting your NCE command station, or as far as that goes, any command station to your computer, getting it to work, I cover the NCE in another video. We're not going to be talking about that aspect of this thing. I'm just going to say, for all this to work, your command station must be connected to a computer that is running JMRI. JMRI requires at least Java 1.6, and the two are communicating back and forth. This can be determined when you go up here and you connect, and I'll start Panel Pro right up here, and it's starting. When it finishes running, you will see it says NCE using serial port on COM3. The MERG using CAN simulation on none is where I am going with my signals. That's going to control my signal heads. That is another thing we're not going to talk about in this video, so just wanted to let you explain that. Just for those who are interested in that, this is the this is going to be the USB device to create, and I guess in simpler terms, since everybody will know, this will be the LocoNet. This will be the LocoNet cable. This is nothing more than a Cat5 cable that will run around the layout, and it will connect to each one of these devices. Now, this is what drives the signal heads. This one is capable of driving 64 LEDs. So as you can see, the world has gotten a lot smaller and a lot simpler. I'm not going to say it's going to be simple to set all this up, but this is going to go into that table, last table that I have to build for the lights. This is going to be a video for a future date for another story. Back to what we're doing here. So that Cisco router that I have is sitting right there. I have an internet cable that comes in from another router inside the house, and the blue cable goes to the AB switch. Now, this is unique to my layout. this is not something that you have to do. If your railroad is inside your house and you have a good signal on an existing router, that is sufficient. If your computer and JMRI will talk to that router, then that is all you need. In my case, I'm in a separate building. This layout is located in a separate building, and this is what we're controlling. The room is 50 feet long and it's 20 feet wide, and it's by itself, and the router inside the house, at most you may get one little arrow, and a lot of times it does not show up, so it's not going to work. So I had to have a separate router. So in my case, the first thing I do is I go over here and I turn it down to the railroad. Then I go on this computer. This computer is running Vista 64 bits. And I go to Networks, and then I go up here to where it says Network and Sharing Center, and then I go to Manage Network Connections, and then I right click, and I got to get the thing to come up correctly, and I click Disable. Then I click Continue, and now you see the X up here. Okay. Now, one thing that's happened here is I started things out of sequence, so we're going to need to go, okay, it took care of itself. So now it's only recognizing the Grande Pacific, and there is no connection to the internet. So at this point, we should be ready to go. Now, we go up back here, close these things all down, and we go here under Tools, Throttles, Start WiThrottle, and you see this come up. And it's looking for that router. And there it is. The Grande Pacific 192.1268 1.1. Okay. So now JMRI is talking with the router. Now, one more thing we need to do here, because we're going to do more than just run train engines. We're going to control panels. So we have to start web server. Just what I did right there. You won't see anything more. That's it. You don't see a box come up like this. So now we have JMRI, the program, and we started under Panel Pro, is sitting here running in the computer. The computer is talking to the command station. The command station is wireless. We're not connected to that radio in any way, shape, or form. It's totally separate. They don't cross over. We're going to send information into the command station through JMRI that's going to be put directly into the track bus that the engines will respond to. So the other thing that I'm going to do here is open up a panel. And the one that controls this railroad is right here. Okay. So now we have a panel opened up. This is the dispatcher's panel on my layout. This is done in Layout Editor. You have three choices. on the Panel Pro for 3 different types of control panels. Layout Editor, from my understanding, offers the greatest number of options. There's a lot of things that I want to do, and you have to be able to do them, and the original one does not allow you to do certain aspects. So when you get around to building a panel, you have 3 choices. This one is Layout Editor. Now, you're going to say, I don't see the little switches and knobs and so forth. What you see most panels look like on railroads, the real railroad panels, they were built by a company called US&S. You can make this look like that. It's a wallpaper job, and you connect the switches. There are several people who do demos. There's even a gentleman who's on the bottom of the JMRI homepage, Bob, that you can connect to the Quaker Valley Railroad. He has a US&S panel. Believe me, Bob can help you get that done. I chose not to go that route. This panel works fine for what I do. I did a video on this, building panels, basics, very basic, to get you kind of headed in the right direction. Not going to go into that today on how we build this. Now we have a tablet sitting here, and you can see me shooting back at the video. And this is an Android tablet. I have an iPad. My wife has an iPad. I bought this. Rating this tablet, very simple. It's in the middle of the road. Okay. To me, none of them do what I want them to do. all of what I want them to do. So we've got this one started, and this is the settings page. All your devices have a settings page. You'll notice it says we're connected to Grande Pacific 2. Connected. Grande Pacific saved is the one inside the house. We don't want to be connected there. So that's why we have the switch. 2 is where we're at. It's standalone. We're by ourselves. So we're not going to get any other options here as far as any interference. Someone made a comment about, using your cell phone to control your engines. That's great, just till you get a phone call or text. If you're using a phone, 3G, 4G, iPhone, put it in the airplane mode, and that takes care of all of those problems. So anyway, we've done this, and we're back in here. Now we're going to go up here, and I want to say this. This is an Android device, so you have to have the app Engine Driver. It takes care of controlling the engines and the controls the panels through the web server. On the iPad, I'll show you that later, but it is a different app. Now, I'll turn this over this way this time instead of trying to reload it. You see my JMRI railroad. I'm going to click on this. Now, the first thing that comes up is the throttle. This is the throttle. If I press here and select the loco, I can go right here, press a loco, and now we have loco 2699. I'll show you a demonstration of how to run this later in the video. And you have all your functions. This right here, where it's right underneath forward, you see that little marker, is a slider. I can slide my finger. I'm out there hearing the train run down the track. Okay, trouble. Alright, so then on this thing, we want to look over here in the corner, and how it shows up in your device may be different. But if I come over here and touch the lines, I get turnouts, routes, web, power preferences. You need to go in and look through the preferences. There's different ways to set this. There's an auto rotate feature on some of the screens. I'm not real happy with the auto rotate compared to the iPad app, which is called WiThrottle. It just functions a lot smoother. You'll find this out if you get into both. I do know the gentleman who wrote this is working on it, so we're going to go, I'm sure if we give them all the time, they'll catch up and get it all into play. Now, we're going to touch here on web. And you get this screen that says Engine Driver Web. Now you see my layout in the thumbnail. Oh, I turned off the clock. Usually that shows up too. Okay, I turned it off. So if I touch that, there's the same thing on the two screens. That's a perspective for size. That's a 10-inch tablet, and that's a 25.5-inch screen. So, but I can do the same thing on either one of them. So I can take, I'm looking for where I am, right here. I can go right here to Apex City, widen it out, touch that switch, and it threw, and there it gives you the indication it was thrown. I can go up here and throw that switch, and there it gives you the indication it's thrown. And if I go over here, that's the same place right here. If I take the mouse and click on them, they go back. And they're back over here. So that's an indication of controlling the layout from out there. On my layout editor, if it's showing up in red, it's occupied. I happen to know there's an engine. That's the station track right in front of the Apex station, and there's an engine sitting in there, so it's tripped the block. Again, I'm not going to go into the panel editor part of this. So you have seen in a very quick demonstration here what it takes to get it going. I will say this: when you unload this Cisco router out of the box, there is a disk in there. You have to run the disk in your computer. You have to load the drivers. It's going to take you through the steps. Be sure to record the numbers. You're going to put a password on it. You need to give it a password, whatever you want to use for the railroad room. If you have a separate one, if you're using one in your house, then you need maybe go back in and set up the password just for the guest and operate on the guest side. Whatever you need to do on the standpoint of that. But you need, if you're doing this from scratch, and I've had a couple of people who I've gotten into phone conversations with, they like the idea of having one just in the train room. So that sure is an option if you want to do it. This is the most important thing, is make sure that it's in the computer and the computer's talking with it. Then when you start to get JMRI to talk with it, which will come back here, we'll go down here and open it up, like up here, then you know where your issues lie. And there have been a couple of issues brought up about the firewalls and various things. I did not have that issue. The computer recognized everything, and it worked basically flawless. I had to have somebody walk me through that first set of procedures about turning off and disabling the connection to the internet, and after I did that over the phone with a good friend in Texas. After I got that done, everything worked fine. So key here though, to start with, goes back to this point right here. If you have a Digitrax system, whatever system you're running, Panel Pro JMRI has to be communicating with your command station. The router must be communicating with the computer, and JMRI has to see the router, which is right here. This will all make it happy and work. So there's the demo. We've seen it all work, so we'll move on. Okay, not used to fooling with this phone, but we basically had to switch the WiThrottle Wi-Fi network connection to where it would recognize the Grande Pacific 2 Wi-Fi network. I think it's a great example of getting all the settings correct and all the devices to use them. And this is going to be interesting because, you know, we had to do it. Now I'm going to have to go back for this is the wife's phone, and I'm going to have to go back and reset this back so she didn't have any problems. And basically I had to turn the phone off and restart it for it to get it to recognize it. So now you see it comes up with the 59245. So if I click on that, there you have a throttle, okay? And I can do press to select, and there you see it gives me a bunch of numbers of locomotives to select. Now, gee, I had that one running. Okay, so now you see I have two up there. Engine Driver IB65 and so forth. So you see here two. I'm going to go over here on this pad and hit release. Now, that one's going to no loco, so I can go over here and hit select loco, so you get this picture here. Now, let's go in the other room and give this a try, because, again, I haven't done this one before. So we set the bell. So the lights are on, the bell's on by the number. We're in reverse, so we'll start sliding the locomotive. Now I gotta tell you, this works a lot better than a pad, or excuse me, a tablet. So all I do is hit forward, and this is one hand function. Okay. So this is Engine Driver. This is an Android type device, so it works just fine. So now we've covered the Engine Driver on the phone, which by the way is far superior to running trains with. We've done the web pages and the Engine Driver on the tablet. This is going to be the same. Now we're going to go and we see the two devices up here. Now we're going to go down here and we have an iPad. And we'll open it up. Oops, wife's got the book going. I went and stole it. So we have to find WiThrottle. They call it WiThrottle. WiThrottle Lite is free, and this will work on your phone to drive an engine, train. WiThrottle, the full boat app, to do the whole thing, which we're going to show you, is $9.99, $10 for the app. So this is where we are now. So same thing with the other machine. We have to go into settings, Wi-Fi, and we've got to go here to Grande Pacific 2, and it's got it loaded up now, so we should be good. There's a statement. And we'll close that. Go back over here, and we'll push this. Okay, now, difference here on this one. It comes up, it doesn't give you any indication other than when it's not connected, but you see the last engine I had selected was 299. It's up here. It says it's not set, so you have to hit the set button, and when you see the 2699L up there at the top, then it's set. So I'm going to go down here, and this is a little bit different. You have throttles, addresses, web server, settings. I go down here and hit the throttle. The throttle is a little bit different. You see the slider on the right, that you can move that to the left in settings. It says reverse forward. You can change that to arrows. And of course we have, by just sliding your thumb, there's all your functions. Now, you know, you can hear the engine blow, and it's in the other room. So, but it's basically the same thing. Big difference here is when you hit the web server, you get this same looking picture, and you select the layout. Now, oh, gee, it auto rotates. It auto rotates. I guess that's about all I need to say here. Okay. So since everything is 16 by 9, you notice computer screen 16 by 9. So that's the way things are for most computers today. The screens are in the ratio of 16 by 9. Your TV sets by 16 by 9. That's the way we are today. It's not 4 by 3 anymore. So anyway, this is the way it works the best. So I'm not going to go any further than this with this iPad. You're looking at the same functions the other one does. If I go back to throttle, and I throttle here on this page, I can go right here to, it says turnouts routes. I don't have any routes in the computer at the time. You build a route to run the train. That would really get the ultimate. You can just stand there and hit the button and watch 20 trains run around your layout and never raise a finger. That ain't for me, but anyway. Turnouts, same thing as the other one. You have a list of turnouts. Okay. This one, and I don't know if this is a preference setting, is done numerically. So that may be a case of the other one. I need to go into preferences and look, see if it's a preference setting. But if I touch the ready contract, ready cement switch, you see it went to the diverging route. If I hit it back, it goes the other way. And I actually sat here and heard it run. Sorry about the reflections, but this gives you an idea. This is fully functional. All I have to do is go back down here and touch web server, and there's the complete layout. So you can walk around during a session, or like I'm going to do in a minute here, I'm going to build a train and run it. Great part of JMRI operations. Don't have to have a whole crew here. It's just me. This happens to be Easter Sunday, and when we're making this, and we're going to go run some trains on our own. So we'll build a train down here, and we'll start throwing some switches. So all I have to do is touch the button, and the ladder and the switch opened up. Now, I covered in the last one video, one of my other videos, those little button circles can be controlled. This was Layout Editor, okay? This panel was built in Layout Editor in JMRI's Panel Pro. There's 3 choices: Panel Editor, Layout Editor, Control Layout Editor, and Layout Editor. This one is built in Layout Editor. No, this isn't a USNS board. But if you want to wallpaper this and make it look like a USNS board, that sure can be done. Never did it, but you can do it. There's a person on the JMRI site that has a link to his own page. Believe me, he explains it all. So this is the part which my 2 iPad, the iPad and the Android pad, are going to get used to control, so the operators can have control of the staging yards. Because I'll put the other one down here on this throat at junction. So we'll have control over both staging yards with a pad sitting there where the operator can put the little cars back into the yard if they have to at the bottom, or put their trains back into staging. This involves a reverse move. All the trains that come in get turned, and then they have to go back around. Either they go into junction or they go into Golden. And all trains now have to leave cars in one of the 2 yards. We found out in operations that if you make the trains a little bit shorter than what the maximum length is when they leave, everything works a lot better. Okay, so we have a very good scheme on that worked out. Hope all this helps some people understand the capabilities. You saw me have a few problems along the way, and I guess you got to get everything checked into the right boxes for it all to work. But it's not really difficult. As you work through it, if you have to, make yourself a checklist. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to post it. Did you turn the Wi-Fi setting on the device so it will connect to Grande Pacific 2? Because it's got to be connected. The computer's got to be connected. The whole thing's all got to be talking to each other. So communications, like everything else in the world, is important. So you got a phone, an Android tablet, an iTablet, and they're all showing up right there in the connection box. So there's 3 controllers, control panels. Why, if you're going to start from scratch and build a railroad, believe me, and I'm just going to say this as I say in all my videos, don't know the detail, the parts of the pieces, but you can do this all with Digitrax. This is an NCE system, but this all can be done with Digitrax. Different numbers, different ways on certain things you have to go about, but it's just a matter of getting the switches all clicked in the right direction, and you can do this too. Hope everybody enjoyed it, and this will be the first how-to video that I'm doing primarily for the LSR marker lamp. I hope everybody enjoyed it.